Welcome to another section of 3B Talks Turkey. Why Spheros needs to upgrade its Exchange server. Now, we've been talking about upgrading hardware and software for a while, and we suddenly find ourselves in a situation where we don't have a choice. We have to upgrade. But we'll start by looking at what we have at the moment. As you can see, most of the stuff that we own has been purchased in 2006. The only up-to-date system that's currently in use is the new firewall, which was purchased this year. You'll also see that the current generation of server software is Windows 2012. We are on Windows 2003, 3 generations old. There is no support for it. You'll also see where I've indicated past end of life. I'm talking about the hardware itself. We have no 64-bit systems. All the new software runs on 64-bit systems. But our biggest concern is the Exchange server. We're on the 2003 version of Exchange, and Exchange 2013 will be released probably next month. This puts us 3 generations behind the current standard, and hardware failure on the current server is imminent. And the biggest concern, the biggest concern is that there is no upgrade path from 2003 to 2013. I'm going to explain why this is so, but if we do not do this now, then we are going to be in a situation where we will be forced to rebuild the entire network from scratch if we have a hardware failure. To understand why we make this dire pronouncement, we need to understand a little of the technology behind the network we all use and take for granted. Please bear with me. I'm going to oversimplify just for the sake of clarity. For example, I've completely ignored the hub server role in Exchange 2007. In Exchange 2003, an important thing is that it is capable of communicating directly with the world. So you can have an Exchange server and put it out there without a firewall in front of it, and it will send and receive email. It's also able to send and receive this email in an unsecure manner. That means the communications between the server and its clients are unencrypted. 2003 introduced a technology called RPC over HTTPS. Outlook clients on the LAN communicate with the Exchange server using the MAPI protocol. It's important to remember this because this is about to go away. All the communication roles of the server were included in the one physical box. The way Exchange 2003 stores email is it stores email in a box, and each box is contains a database, and all the boxes in turn are stored in another database. The maximum size of each box is theoretically 2 gigabits, and the maximum total store size is about 85. It uses a technology called public folders and another one called routing groups. Now, routing groups enable Exchange servers to find each other, and it's how the Exchange sends mail from one organization to the next. To recap, message delivery, both secure and unsecure, but most importantly, it preferred unsecure delivery. The mailbox store, with mail being stored as individual PST files in a database, public folder hierarchies, and email routing groups. That's what we had with 2003. Now, this is quite a change when we came to 2007. Immediately you can see Exchange 2007 introduced functional divisibility. An Exchange 2007 server has a number of roles installed in it. Now, these roles can be split to different physical hardware. This was not possible in 2003. The roles are the edge server, the client access server, the mailbox server, and I haven't shown you the hub server. Client communication, secure communication is required, but unsecured communication is possible. That's an important thing again. It requires secure communication, but it allows you to bypass it and communicate in an unsecure fashion. Major changes. In Exchange 2007, Microsoft moved to completely 64-bit architecture. There are no routing groups. Mail exchange is handled by the hub and client access servers. There is legacy support for public folders. Remember, in Exchange 2003 we have public folders. Mail is stored in a relational database with single instance storage. This is a huge step forward from the PST arrangement of 2003. And Exchange 2007 introduced the OST file to track emails. That change again. We see the mailbox stores being moved to a separate mailbox server, and mail is stored as an OST, not a PST. Message delivery, 2003 allowed unsecure mail, 2007 allowed it but preferred secure. Routing groups have gone and public folders are on their way out. With Exchange 2010, very similar architecture to 2007. The most significant changes being it's 64-bit only. It only allows secure communication. There's enhanced support for smart devices like your iPhones and iPads. A technology called Outlook Anywhere has reached maturity here. And it introduced the concept of database availability groups. Basically what this allows you to do is have a bunch of hard drives sitting on the network somewhere, and the exchange will use them natively. So you'd have a copy of your mail in your mailbox and a copy of your mail on these hard drives sitting somewhere on the network. So essentially you don't need to make backups of your email. High availability clusters became easier to implement, and it introduced RPC over HTTPS communication for LAN clients. I remember in Exchange 2003, your Outlook client communicated with the server via MAPI. 2010, it introduces RPC over HTTPS, which is a far lighter, speedier, and more secure kind of communication between your Outlook client and the Exchange. In Exchange 2013, you'll see there's a slight change. The edge and hub transport roles are gone. These are now handled entirely by the client access server. Exchange 2013 requires a firewall in front of it in order to communicate with the outside world. Your internal communication is only by RPC over HTTPS, so it's secure. The mailbox store has been completely written. It's more robust, easier to restore, and more efficient. There are increased enhancements for converged communications, so your video conferencing, your voice over IP telephony, all converge into your Exchange mailbox. There is, however, no support for Exchange 2003 communication, and I'm going to show you why very shortly. Remember, technologies in 2003 that were dropped to go to 2007. From 2007 to 2010 there wasn't a huge change, but from 2010 to 2013 more technologies have been dropped. There is no upgrade path from 2003 to 2004 without those two intermediate steps. If we do not take those intermediate steps, we will at a later stage have to buy another server in order to introduce a 2007 and 2010 exchange, and then continue from the 2010 to the 2013. What do we need to do? First, don't panic. I can see panic signs all over the place. What we need to do is purchase 64-bit hardware. We need to buy 64-bit operating systems. and then we buy Exchange 2010 with upgrade rights, so that when 2013 is released, we get it without charge. We need to understand that this is a major project, so careful planning is a must. And last and most importantly, listen to your poor IT guy. He's trying to prevent major disaster here. And it's not going to be cheap. I'm still waiting on final pricing, but we can expect a rental in the region of 3,750 Rand a month. Now, the unfortunate thing there is that it's the licensing that is extremely expensive. The hardware itself isn't a major train smash. Well, thanks for watching, and I have no doubt you'll be on my phone shortly.